So I'm going to show you how to do a bar chart in Stata. The bar chart that I'm going to do is going to look something like this. Have it saved here as a Stata graph. So we know bar charts are for categorical data, and then the bars don't touch. We know they have counts or percents. This is the one I'm going to do, and also there's one in the lectures that looks like this. So I'm going to open up this observation level data. We've seen it before. It is the lung capacity data, and it has the Caesarean section data. So let's just see what I'm dealing with here. And what I want to have is a bar chart of the counts of the number of Caesarean sections, 725 observations, with yes, no on the x-axis and counts or percents on the y-axis. With graphing, I recall that I don't want to try to remember the syntax. I'm going to let Stata do the work for me and create the commands for me. So I'm going to go to graphics and then fill in the important tabs here. On the main tab, when I have observation level data, if I want counts, I'm going to click on Graph of Frequencies within Categories, and then I'm going to click on the Categories menu, and my group is going to be, I'm going to pull down menu, and this is my Caesarean section data. So this is what's going to be on my x-axis. On my x-axis I want Caesarean section, and on my y-axis I want counts, and that's what's on my main here. And then I want to fill in, I can always change this later, but I'm going to fill in important things. One of the things is going to be the titles, and I had already filled this in. On the y-axis, I like to have something descriptive here, so instead of, say, count or frequency, maybe say number of participants. You want to make sure if you have counts that your major tick lines are not fractions. You probably want to do some minor changes here. Again, I'm doing something sort of quickly, but for now, let's just see how this is looking, and I can always make changes. You want to make sure that these make sense in the context of the problem, etc. You may want to put counts or percents here, but this is looking pretty good. So here we have a bar chart where my original data was observation level. Now let's do a bar chart whenever I have summary data. So I'm going to open up my summary data set, and it is called Uninsured Summary 28 million. I'm going to list it, and I see that it has not one observation per person, but it has 3 observations, and it has this is summarized data here. It has counts. I'm going to go up here to graphics, again bar chart, and it still has these old titles, etc. in here. I'll have to change, but I'm going to go to these tabs and change what I need to. On the main tab, I want to graph the actual data. It's called as is. I'm going to graph the actual counts, not the frequency, but the actual value that's on that row. And the category, what's on the x-axis, will be Nativity. What else do I need? Feel free to look around and browse to see what would be helpful in the context of your specific problem. The bar heights might be nice. I'm going to change the title. So I've typed in a descriptive title. Let's see how it's looking. Not too bad. I see a couple of things. I would want to reorder these. The way that it's ordered is not particularly helpful for my reader. I see that the way that these numbers are formatted is not particularly helpful. I could do this a couple different ways. It could be through this Start Graphics Editor, or I can go back to that pop-up box. I'm going to go back to the pop-up box. That seems more helpful. On the pop-up box for the bar graph, if I go over here to the major tick label properties, and again you just have to look around. This is not something that I remember. I just sort of look around until something looks like it's going to be helpful. I want to format these labels. It's going to tell me how many digits are allowed. It looks like I have to give it some more digits, and I probably want to allow some commas. That might help it. And I'll need to do some other things to make that more reader friendly. Maybe make it horizontal. Again, small things. Let's make them horizontal. Looking somewhat better. I would do the same thing for these values right here if I needed to. Let me show you how to reorder things. To reorder things, I'll go over here to the categories because that's what I need to reorder. It's the Nativity that I want to reorder, so I click on Properties, and one of the options is to do the sort order, and I want to sort it by the count, and I want to sort it descending. And again, you can play around with what you think looks best, what you think your reader will like, will be best, and so that looks a little better. So that'll get you started in how to do a bar graph.